Welcome to Love Always Self. I'm Shyra.
Hi, y'all. I'm Karista, and thank you so much for joining us on this episode of Love Always Self. We're so glad to have you here. And no matter where you're at or what time of day, I'm just glad that you are sharing this space with us. So thank you for being here today. Hi, Miss Shyra.
Hi, Care Bears.
Hi. Well, today, as we are recording this, we are about to merge into the sign of Leo. So this is, the lion or lioness. So this is a fire sign. So we just wanted to chat about fire and how to prevent forest fires within your inner being.
Oh, man. What a great analogy. Forest fire within your inner being. That could go in so many directions. Seriously.
Yeah. So I had a quick little visual this morning about Smokey the Bear and how can we prevent forest fires? And I don't know why I thought about it other than it's hot outside. I don't know. Maybe that's it.
We're like breaking records right now. I think we're on like day 37 of over 100-degree heat here in Texas. So
Oh, that's not a record. I think we had over 60 days a couple years ago. So,
oh, geez. Oh, geez. Yeah.
We'll hit it. We'll hit it.
Time to get those water elements out.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. That's an important aspect is balancing that intense fire energy with some water, making sure to ground yourself in the earth and connecting with your breath or the air. But again, refocusing today on preventing forest fires within our inner being. So, when I had Smokey, the bear, pop into my head this morning, I was like, that's an interesting train of thought. Where's this going to take me? And then I was like, what do they do to prevent forest fires? Because I think we are in forest fire season. Of course, I don't know. We're in a drought too. USA, we're winning here. Anyways, I digress. So in preventing forest fires, one of the first things that people do is actually clear all the dead stuff away, the stuff that's quickly ignited and catches fire easily. So how does that relate to our own internal being?
So what are some of the things that are needing to be cleared?
Yes. What is some of the Tinder that and I'm not talking about the dating app, but the Tinder
I just said that earlier.
Within ourselves that is dry, that is old, that is easily triggered into ignition. So what kind of things can we clear out of our own inner being that can easily catch on fire, thus triggering us into maybe more heightened, intense, negative states, depending on how you look at it?
I so want to pop in right now and just do like a quick, how can we help you prevent internal forest fires?
I think that's the goal of what we're trying to do right now. So, some of these triggers can be old patterns of negative thinking. It can be patterns of limiting belief. It can be things that trigger us, like just how something is said to us. And we can't change other people as easily as we can change our state within ourselves. So, and I say that with a grain of salt, because that even in itself is not easy, but it is very possible and it's doable and it's worth it, because I know that when I'm on fire, it doesn't feel good.
No, it doesn't. And, one of the things that I do want to bring up is just how it feels when you do decide to work through and then release this fire within, this thing that does cause you to have triggers. I've done one recently. I'm not going to get into the full details. That's private, but I will say that, coming into this aha moment that took several years to get to, unfortunately, but having this like release I mean, man, I'm not going to lie. I was crying. I was bawling. I was like, oh my God, I can't believe I've been holding on to that for this long. But when I did release it, I'm now in this phase of every time I think about that releasing period, that releasing day when it occurred, like if I start to feel myself become a little bit triggered by it again, by this scenario that I'm not going to get into details on, but every time I think about it, I'm like, yeah, but Shyra, you really kind of went through this already. You actually tamed this already. And it felt, I mean, this is a good analogy, Carrie, because it felt like someone just poured a big old drink right on top of my burning flame, right? And it's that steam from the fire being put out that I'm now experiencing. It's like a slight aftermath of the situation, right? But it's not as intense as the burning fire would have been. So
Now,
hopefully that gives you
yeah.
motivation to like,
Yeah.
yeah.
Now, don't get me wrong. It is good that we maintain our internal flame. So we don't want to completely sequester it and put it out, because that's part of our power. But when we have a forest fire, that's, detrimental. That is destruction. That is, just it becoming out of balance.
Yeah.
And so when we're talking about this, we're discussing the internal flame that has overtaken, and that's no longer in that balanced state.
A running rampant one.
Like lava flowing.
That's destructive.
So getting rid of irritants, the pieces of tinder that, ignite quickly, that are just your the thing it's like holding, you're just waiting for the flame to ignite so you can throw it in there and make the big fire everywhere. So releasing, and then also finding that balance. So our opposite element is water. So again, not trying to put out that flame completely, but making sure that you are well hydrated. And this is cheesy, yes, but well hydrated with compassion and kindness. Yeah.
I know. I'm full of jokes today, so I'm holding back a little bit.
and I'm okay with a little bit of cheese, every once in a while it's necessary.
It is, it's fun.
Gives us those good feels. But when we instill ourselves with patience, with compassion, we can understand that other people or other things that may have triggered us will not be as triggering, because we are keeping ourselves well hydrated and resisting that ignition into anger, into fear, into resentment. So again, when firefighters are, or the city people, whoever maintains the roadways and the nature to minimize this risk, they are also using the water to hydrate the land, to make it less likely to ignite in flames. And I just want to let you know that I'm really avoiding using the M word.
I really appreciate that. Thank you.
You're welcome.
It starts with an M word and it ends with riser. No, you use it to put on your face.
Oist.
We're just not going to say it. So gross.
So I'm curious, like, what other people that are listening, other things that they do to help keep their internal elements in balance, to help prevent their internal forest fires from igniting and taking charge and kind of directing the path that you take. So what kinds of things as an audience do you do? And I would love to hear that, because we're helping each other. Everything that we're discussing here, these are all things that we've had aha moments or have worked through ourselves or have utilized ourselves. So we're not just giving you a bunch of fluff.
Right.
And even though it may sound cheesy and it may sound woo, it's still valid because we feel a difference. And you may not feel a difference with every single tool that, we present to you, and that's okay. Everything is, just presented as an option.
Yeah. And sometimes when you come across a good piece of information and you have those little aha moments, those, like, I'm hoping that when you are listening to this, our lovely audience, that this information is coming across to you at that exact right time that you need to hear it, and that it would be beneficial and helpful for you to carry this knowledge with you into your next interaction or situation or scenario that comes about that might have that triggering moment that just says, here's my fire running rampant again. How
Mm-hmm.
can I practice
Mm-hmm.
or even put into motion a balance to that?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And I just had two more things come through. The first one, obviously, is creating awareness around your triggers. So, what
Yeah.
easily ignites you on fire? What easily pushes you? And it starts with that awareness to begin to observe and to start, imagining ways to circumvent that ignition, to prevent it. And then, even when we can't prevent it, recognizing that sometimes we have to call in extra resources. So these firefighters, they don't fight the flames all alone.
Right.
And sometimes we need help from others, whether that
Absolutely.
is a licensed professional, whether that's a best friend, whether that's a family member, somebody that you trust, somebody that you feel safe with, can help in guiding us, because sometimes it takes an outsider's perspective for us to gain different perspectives as well.
Oh man, the synchronicity right now. That's hilarious. I do, normally I wouldn't do this while we're recording, but I'm going to just share this because, offline from our recordings and our episodes, Carrie and I are having moments within, and and then we come back with those moments within and we discuss it between one another. And in those times, it feels relevant, right? Like this might be relevant information that somebody listening to this episode or watching this episode, it could assist you. And so last night I was having one of those moments within, and I wrote down, and I'm going to share it on my screen in case you're watching this on YouTube, but I wrote down the word perspective. And how maybe we could have another conversation about, shifting your perspective. And I think we've done an episode before about shifting perspective, but I want to actually like provide the alternative angles that you can go into. It's almost like that analytical mind working with your subconscious. But the fact that that's what I was writing down last night and you just brought that up is one of those synchronistic moments that I've just wanted to tap into for just a second because it's exciting when it happens.
Yeah. Just those, hey,
little sidebar,
hey, like, hey, we sent this to you the first time, but I don't think you got it.
Right.
I'm going to send it to you like 5 more times in different forms to remind you. And because repetition helps us to learn.
So freaking true. Sometimes I don't get it the first 5 times.
And if you want to check out that episode, I think it's number 18, Shifting Perspectives, 3 Sides to Every Coin. Don't quote me on the number. I just know the title.
How did you remember that?
17 or 18, somewhere around there. All righty, you guys. Thank you so much for joining us on this episode of Love Always Self. And remember that you too can prevent forest fires in your life. And don't forget to love first,
love last,
and love always. Bye, y'all.
Bye.
Hey, listener, thank you so much for taking the time to be with us in this moment. We hope you enjoyed today's episode, and we look forward to our next connection.
Don't forget to like, subscribe, and follow to stay notified of new content from Love Always Self. If you have any questions or topics you'd like for us to discuss, please hit us up on any of our social media platforms linked in the show notes below.
I'm Karista.
And I'm Shyra.
And until next time, remember to love first
Love last
and love always. Love Always Self podcast is meant for entertainment purposes only. We do not make any warranties about the completeness, reliability, and accuracy of the information presented in this podcast. Any action you choose to take upon the information in this podcast is strictly done so at your own risk, and we will not be held liable for any losses and damages in connection with the use of our podcast. Any and all medical concerns should be addressed with a licensed healthcare provider, as well as any questions that may be derived from the information discussed in this podcast.